Ever walk out of a badminton shop thinking, restringing a racket, how hard can it be? Turns out there's a whole hidden world behind that seemingly simple service.
Right.
Today we're diving deep into the world of a certified badminton stringer to uncover what really goes into prepping those, high-performance rackets.
It's a bit like assuming anyone who can, bake a cake could be a pastry chef at a Michelin star restaurant.
Oh, wow.
The level of precision and knowledge involved is astounding.
Right, and that's exactly what this deep dive is all about.
Yeah.
We'll be exploring the ins and outs of the Certified Badminton Stringer, or CBS certification, a benchmark for stringers catering to casual players like us.
Right.
And believe me, there's nothing casual about the skill set involved.
Exactly. We're lucky enough to be working with actual CBS certification materials today, giving us and you a first-hand look at the stringent standards required to earn this certification.
So we're talking about the gold standard for 90% of badminton players.
Yeah.
Those of us who aren't exactly pros.
Right.
Before we even get into the how, I'm curious, why does this certification even exist? What difference does it make for someone who just wants to plumb a good game?
Think of it this way. Getting your racket strung by a CBS certified stringer isn't just about, fixing a broken string.
Yeah.
It's about optimizing your racket for your unique playing style, like tailoring a suit to fit you perfectly.
Okay, that's a great analogy. I'm starting to see why understanding stringing can actually elevate your game. But how does the CBS certification actually work? What makes a certified stringer stand out?
The certification boils down to two major components: theoretical knowledge and practical skills.
Okay.
And I have to say, the theoretical portion, which accounts for a surprising 50% of the certification, is remarkably thorough.
50%? Wow, that's a lot more than I expected. I was picturing someone just demonstrating they can thread a string. What kind of knowledge are we talking about here?
It's not just about stringing, it's about understanding the why behind every single choice. Imagine 50 multiple choice questions covering everything from string types, tension effects, and racket technology to even different knotting methods.
Right.
Because yes, there's more than one way to tie a knot. And each one has its own advantages and disadvantages.
You've got to be kidding me. This is way more involved than I ever imagined. Can you give us an example of how these different knots affect a player's game?
Absolutely. Take the two most common methods, the two knot and the four knot.
Okay.
The two knot allows for a bit more string movement, which some players prefer for feel and control, while the four knot is known for its stability and durability. Choosing the right knot often depends on your playing style and preferences.
That's fascinating. It's amazing how such seemingly small details can have such a big impact. What else surprised you about the theoretical part of the certification?
One thing that really stood out to me is that they even include a customer service simulation. Because, let's face it, explaining these complex stringing concepts clearly to someone who's not an expert is a skill in itself.
That's so true. You don't want to be bombarded with jargon when you just want to know if you should go for tighter or looser strings.
Exactly.
So it's not just about being a stringing guru.
Right.
It's about communication and being able to guide someone toward the best setup for their game.
Yeah.
But all this knowledge is useless without the skills to back it up, right?
Yeah.
Which brings us to the practical part of the CBS exam.
Absolutely. This is where theory meets practice, and let me tell you, it's no walk in the park.
Okay, so you've aced the theoretical part of the exam, and you're feeling like a stringing savant. Now what?
Now comes the real test,
Yeah.
the practical exam.
Okay.
Imagine this. You're given 4 standard badminton rackets and have to string each one, 2 using the 2-knot method and 2 with the 4-knot, all within a tight time limit.
60 minutes per racket, right?
Yeah.
Talk about pressure. I can already feel my hands getting clammy just thinking about it. But it's not just about speed, is it?
Not at all. Remember those meticulous assessment criteria we talked about?
Right.
Everything is under scrutiny here, from avoiding string crossovers to maintaining even tension across all 4 rackets.
And speaking of tension, you mentioned earlier that the string tension is actually measured. That's where DT comes in, right?
Yeah.
I have to admit, I'm not entirely sure what DT means.
You're right. I should have clarified that earlier. DT stands for drop weight tension, and it's the unit used to measure the tightness of the strings. Get this, the maximum allowed difference in tension between all the strings on a single racket is a mere 2 DT.
2 DT. Wow, that's incredibly precise. It's like saying, bake me a cake, but each ingredient can only deviate by a fraction of a gram. I'm starting to understand why that Certified Badminton Stringer certificate is such a big deal. But hold on, how does a 2DT difference even matter in a real game?
It might seem minuscule, but believe me, even a 2DT difference can completely change your shuttlecock's feel and your game's outcome. A tighter string bed, for example, might give you more control but less power, which could be great for a defensive player, but not ideal for someone who relies on, powerful smashes. It's all about finding the sweet spot for your playing style.
That makes so much sense. It's like how a professional chef can tell the difference between a dish with a pinch of salt and a dish with a smidgen too much. It's all about those subtle nuances that make a huge difference. So, after conquering this nerve-wracking practical exam, what do these stringing ninjas get?
Well, those who successfully navigate both the theoretical and practical storms earn the coveted Certified Badminton Stringer certificate. It's a formal recognition of their expertise, issued by Best Stringer worldwide, and recognized internationally, a testament to their hard-earned skills.
So it's like the stringing equivalent of a black belt in badminton.
Exactly. It's a mark of distinction in the world of badminton stringing.
Okay, so we've gone deep into this certification process, and honestly, I'm blown away by the skill and precision involved. But let's bring it back to our listeners for a second. What does all of this mean for them? The everyday badminton enthusiast. So if I'm hearing you correctly, finding a CBS certified stringer is like finding a mechanic who doesn't just fix your car, but tunes it to perfection for your driving style.
Yeah.
You might not see all the intricate work under the hood, but you sure feel the difference when you're behind the wheel.
That's a great way to put it. And just like finding a mechanic you trust, seeking out a CBS certified stringer can make a world of difference in your badminton experience.
This whole deep dive has been a real eye-opener for me. I never realized how much goes into professional badminton stringing, or how much it can actually impact a player's game.
It's one of those things that's easy to overlook, but once you understand the nuances, you start to see the game in a whole new light.
Right.
It's not just about the racket itself. It's about those crucial points of contact between you, the strings, and the shuttlecock.
Exactly. So for our listeners who are just as fascinated by this hidden world of stringing as we are, what's our takeaway message?
Don't underestimate the impact of what's happening at the string level. Next time you pick up your badminton racket, think about those 2 DTs, those knots, those string types. They all add up to create a unique playing experience.
And don't be afraid to tap into that expertise.
Yeah.
Find a CBS certified stringer near you. Maybe even impress them with your newfound knowledge.
Right.
And get curious about their craft.
Who knows, you might just discover the secret ingredient that takes your game to the next level.
We're the best stringer worldwide, passion and knowledge side by side. From badminton to